Hello, my dear student. I'm Vaibhav and I'm your music teacher. This is the third video in the series of music theory and instruments. So, first, I'm going to revise what we did in the first two videos and then we can move forward. In the first video, I told you about the type of notes. There are two type of notes. The first is the natural, second are the accidental notes. The natural notes can be identified by the color white in a keyboard, right? And the accidental notes are the black keys on a keyboard. So there are seven natural notes: A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and five accidental notes: A sharp, C sharp, D sharp, F sharp, and G sharp, right? Then we can see the note cycle, right? Before going to the note cycle, I must remind you that there is no B sharp and there is no E sharp. So B sharp and E sharp we do not write, okay? I'm going to explain in detail later on. I don't want you to get confused, but always remember B sharp and E sharp are not what we are looking for on a keyboard. Okay, so in the note cycle, any of these notes can be the first note. Since it is a circle, it doesn't have a beginning or end, right? So any of these notes can be the first note of an octave. If you remember an octave, suppose uh, we are taking G note, okay? From the G, we go to G sharp, A sharp, B, C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, F, F sharp, and then we again come back to G. Now this, the whole circle, when we go through the whole circle and we find the starting note, we are completing an octave. This is called completing an octave we completed from any of these notes, from A sharp, from D, D sharp, any of these notes. Okay, now the first note of an octave is called a tonic. Okay, tonic, this is important. The first note of any octave is called tonic, right? Suppose the tonic is, in this example, was G. Okay, so how do we see? G, A, B, C, D, F, D, E, F, G. Okay, so this is the octave of G. Okay, now this is also G and this is also G, but they sound very much different. How come? Right? So in this cycle that we can see, these notes will reoccur. Okay, suppose we start from A and then we will find again a different A and it will be sounding different. So what is the difference in sound? The difference in sound is the pitch. The pitch is the highness and the lowness of the voice. When we go clockwise in this note cycle, we are increasing the pitch. Okay, and when we are going anti-clockwise, and similarly we are decreasing the pitch. When we say a high pitched sound, it means the sound that is piercing through our ears. Suppose the female voice, or when a child is crying, it is a very high pitched sound, right? And our own voice go through a lot of pitch change while we grow up. First, initially when we are young, our voice is high pitched, and when we grow up, our voice becomes low pitched. Okay, so I hope you get an idea of what pitch is. So on a keyboard, I must tell you that this is a low pitch G compared to this G. Now there, this is not the lowest G. Again we can find a G here which is lower than this one. So it is a comparative term. There is this is also low as compared to this one, and this is high as compared to this one. Okay, since it is a cycle, a lot will be dealing with a lot of comparative terms, right? So I hope you get an idea of what pitch is. While we're growing right on a keyboard, we are increasing the pitch, and we are going left on a keyboard, we are decreasing the pitch. That is why this first two octave of the keyboard, the first two octave will be calculating from the note C. Since this is the first note of any keyboard, C, we'll be calculating an octave from C. So from this C to this C is the first octave, and from this to this is the second octave. Now the third C of any keyboard is called the middle C. Now this is important because it is kind of an intersection of a keyboard. Okay, midway. This is the middle C. Okay, the keys before the middle C are known as the bass notes. Okay, or the bass keys. Now bass is what? Bass is just another term for low pitched sound. भारी आवाज होती है, and the low pitched sound whatever whenever we see is called the bass, right? So these are the heavy sounds and these are the higher sounds, right? So this is the middle C, and before middle C, on the left of middle C, we'll find the bass keys, and on the right of middle C, we'll find the high keys, or we can also term them as treble. Okay, so there are three sound types. Now this also is a general music lesson, sound lesson, which will be applied to every instrument. Okay, so the first is bass or low. If you have a music system, sound system at your home, you will find bass and treble knobs in your music system. So bass is to increase the lowness of the sound, and the second is the middle, right, which is exactly in between bass and treble. Treble is the highness of the sound. Okay, so this is how we see it. On a keyboard, the third C, remember the third C is the middle C, and after third C are the high notes, the treble notes, and before the third C are the low notes. So okay, so next what we are going to do is identify the black notes. In the second video, I told you how to identify the white keys, the natural keys. Okay, so I'll revise it again for you. In between, first we see the black keys. They are in a pattern of pairs and triplets, right? First we see two black keys, and then we see three black keys, and the whole picture goes on. In every keyboard, every kind of keyboard instrument, you'll see the whole same pattern. So just remember, whenever you see two black keys, in between two black keys you will find D. Fine. And in between three black keys there are two white keys, which are G and A. First we find D, and then we find G, A. Okay, now if we remember these three keys, it is a shorthand technique to remember all of them keys, because we can also notice the neighboring keys. The neighboring keys of D are C and E, and the neighboring keys of G, A are F and B. Okay, so suppose I ask you to play an E. So what you will see, you will first find what is the nearest neighboring key that you know. The neighboring key of towards E is D. So if you find D, then it will be easier for you to find E. Now this sounds complicated when you do it all in your head, but as you keep on doing it, this becomes really easy in a span of around in span of minutes, basically 15 to 20 minutes. If you just apply your mind and try to find the keys, okay, then it will be very easy for you. Fine. So now moving on to the black keys. The black keys are really simple to identify. So suppose this is C. Fine. I suppose that you know already this is C, because this is D, and whatever comes before D is C. Right? Now this key above C is called C sharp. Okay? C and C sharp. D and D sharp. Then we go to E. So you must remember from before that there is no E sharp. That is why there is a space between black keys, right? E, no E sharp. So E ke baad F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A sharp, and B. And again you must remember from before that there is no B sharp. So there is a space, gap in between black keys, right? So C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A sharp, B, and C. And again this whole picture goes on and goes on and goes on. So what you have to really do is study one octave. You don't have to study the whole keyboard, you just have to study one octave, a set of 12 keys or the note cycle. If you study that, you'll be definitely be getting a much better grasp of a keyboard, right? So I'm also giving you our first song lesson. So if you have remembered all the keys, if you have memorized all the keys and you can find the keys easily, I suggest that you open the video and you start learning our first song. Take care.